The cameras were always rolling. Bright lights, perfect smiles, and a chemistry that felt as warm as a Sunday roast. Richard and Judy, the beloved duo of British television. They were the couple who made mornings feel like home, who laughed through awkward cooking segments and bantered effortlessly through interviews. To the world, they were unshakable. But behind the camera, cracks had been forming, cracks that no lens could capture. Now, for the first time, Richard Madeley breaks his silence. "It wasn't always roses," Richard says, sipping his tea at a quiet cafe in Devon, far from the bustling London sets that once defined their lives. "We were two very strong personalities, and sometimes that clashed. Hard." The public saw glamour, wit, and warmth. But behind closed doors, there were slammed doors, silent treatments, words spoken in anger that hung in the air like fog on a moor. "We had some fights," Richard admits. "Not the kind where you raise your voice for the sake of it, but the kind where you question everything, where you wonder if love is really enough." It was the early 2000s, a golden era for Richard and Judy. Their book club was revolutionizing publishing, and their show was pulling in millions. But with the pressure came the strain. Long filming hours, endless media scrutiny, parenting, public life, and personal expectations. A perfect storm for private pain. "There was a night," Richard says quietly, eyes distant. "Judy had just come back from filming a segment in Manchester. I was late getting home. We argued for hours. At one point, she just looked at me and said, 'Maybe we don't like each other anymore.' And for a terrifying moment, I didn't know if we'd make it." His voice cracks, just slightly. It wasn't about cheating or betrayal. It was just exhaustion. Two people slowly forgetting how to be gentle with each other. In a world where celebrity breakups are splashed across tabloids before they're barely confirmed, Richard and Judy did something different. They retreated, not from each other, but from fame. "We stepped back. We said no to offers. We focused on us." And it wasn't glamorous. It was therapy. Walks without talking. Talking without walking away. Learning again how to love someone not for who they were on camera, but for who they were at 3 a.m. when everything felt like it was falling apart. Judy, never one for public drama, stood by quietly during those years. "She was the strong one," Richard admits. "I talk a lot, but Judy, she listens. And sometimes that's harder." Today, their love is quieter but deeper. They laugh, bicker, debate books, and still correct each other mid-sentence like they did on morning telly. But something has shifted. "We're not the same people we were in 2003, Richard says with a soft smile. But thank God for that. When asked why he's sharing this now, Richard pauses. "Because people look up to us like we're perfect, and that's dangerous. Love isn't a fairy tale. It's a battlefield sometimes, and that's okay. What matters is whether you're still holding hands when the dust settles." He takes out his phone and shows a photo. Judy, asleep on the sofa, a book on her chest, their dog curled beside her. It's not posed, it's not polished, but it's perfect. "That's love," he says simply. Not the smiles on camera, but the quiet after the fight, the staying, even when leaving feels easier. The world may never know the full extent of what Richard and Judy endured behind the curtain, but perhaps that's not the point. Because love, like live television, isn't about being flawless. It's about showing up, every day, especially when the script goes out the window. Epilogue. They walk out of the cafe hand in hand. No entourage, no cameras. Just two people, weathered but still walking side by side. There's no need for a spotlight when your heart is still full of light. And in Richard's words, sometimes the biggest heartache teaches you the best way to love.